Afternoon, everybody. It looks like I've gone live a little bit soon. Hi, Karen. You were a little bit early. Afternoon. Hi, Marion. Hi, Suzette from Canada. Hi, Margaret. Hope you had a nice day yesterday. Hi, Laurie. Good morning from the US. Nice to see you here. Hi, Colleen. How are we all doing? That's what I want. Hi, Tony. Right. Isn't it cold? Hi, Jackie from the US. Oh, that's nice, Margaret. I'm glad you had a nice day. Always good to have a nice day on your birthday. Hi, Anne. Yes, doesn't it just? I don't mind, though. I enjoy it. Right. Okay. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Carol from the US. Hi, Linda. Nice to see so many people from the USA and Canada. Wow. We've finally got everything working properly. Proper camera, proper mic, proper picture. Wow. Is all I can say. I didn't want that. Oh, well. Okay. So can you all see that picture okay? Can you all hear me okay? Hi, Connie. Hi, Carol. Hi, Heather. See and hear me fine. That's a bonus then. Well, it is for me. It might not be for you. Hi, June. Hi, Susan. Wow. Okay. It's lovely to see you all here. I can't believe I've got everything working the way it should. I knew I'd get there eventually, but just a little bit of time. But you know, all the best things are worth waiting for, aren't they? Yeah, and you're all still waiting, aren't you? Loud and clear, can see clearly. Brilliant. Excellent. Brilliant. Wow. Well, it can only get better then, she said, hopefully. Right. So today I thought I would just go through the brand new, gorgeous ruffled lace frame. I love this. It is so versatile. Yes, it can be every day. It can be Christmas. Wow, it's just so pretty. I mean, you don't have to make it pretty, but I don't see how you can't. It is really, really pretty. Hi, Margaret. Hi, Mary. Hi, Jean. Hi, Doreen. Hi, Janice. Hi, Suzanne. Hi, Pat. Lovely to see you. So yeah, I'm using these two. I'm going to be doing 6 cards. I'm only stenciling once because I've done all the stenciling for everything else. But I just wanted to show you different ways that I've used it, just to give you some ideas, really. So I've done 2 using the whole lot, and then I've done 4 individual ones using just one sheet of the stencils. There are 4 stencils in this set. So I've made 4 cards, each with a different stencil out of the set. Okay, so those are what I'm using primarily. I'm going to go through the additional things that I've used on each card as we get to each card, because otherwise you'll have forgotten what I've used. So on the first one that I'm doing, I've used this stencil out of the SLIMLINE FESTIVE set of 3. Not sure whether any of this is still in stock, I've got to be honest. Haven't had time to check. But the QR code is there on the screen for you to just go and have a look. If you see anything you like, if it's in stock. And then I'm also using the self-adhesive stickers from the Christmas box set, the Christmas is Coming set. Just because on this first card, they're the perfect size because I didn't want to hide any of the stenciling. Okay. Hi, Alison, June, Julie, Evelyn. Hi, Claire. Okay, so that's the sentiments that I'm using today. So, as I said, 4 stencils, and you can see the detail on each stencil. This one I think looks like Christmas trees. I think it's fabulous. But there is so much detail on each one. I just thought, I wonder whether you could just use each one individually. So that's what I'm going to do later. Okay, so I'm going to stencil this first one. I've already stenciled it, put it out and embossed it, but I just wanted to show you how I'd stenciled with the colours that I've used, okay? So as I said, I think these look like Christmas trees, so I'm gonna do those green. This is a Christmas card, so it's gonna be sort of traditional Christmas colours, if you like, really. So I'm going to start with the interference ink, and this is the Magic Garden Shimmer. I think this was from set 1, but the green on this is just the perfect green for what I wanted. Okay, so that's why I've used it. There is no rule that says you can't mix interference and blending inks together. Okay, but obviously because it's an interference ink, it dries quickly, so you might sort of have to do a couple of layers on each sort of little tree, but it really doesn't take very long at all. And it's just a fabulous green. I could have used juicy pineapple and put surfs up on the top, but I really didn't want to. I didn't want to mess around with more than one colour, if I'm honest. So I thought this Magic Garden, having gone through all my ink pads this morning to see which green I thought was the best one, this was the one I chose. And I just think it's perfect. I like the sort of shimmer that you get once it's dried as well. And it sort of changes colour a little bit. So it goes on sort of this green that's on the Mylar, but as it dries, it sort of dulls down a little bit. And I just think it's the perfect green for this particular. I don't use it every time I use green. I think I only use it on this first stencil, to be honest. But you can see how quick and easy it is. And I'm using my stencil brush, and this is one that I've kept purely for interference inks, because obviously with that mica that's in those interference inks, you don't really want to get it on the brushes that you use on your ordinary blending inks, because you don't want to contaminate them or anything like that. So that's my first one. I'll just redo that top bit there. That's my first one. I really do think they look like Christmas trees. I'm quite happy to leave that as it is. I think it's absolutely perfect. So I'll just put the lid back on that. And then the second one, I thought, okay, what colour shall I go with? I didn't want to use sort of another green, so I thought it was Strawberry Sunday. I'm using my Wonder Brush for this because it's quite a large area, although the apertures are small. The Wonder Brush will fill them in perfectly. And I wanted quite a deep red, so I've gone in quite heavy with this thing. But when I take this off, you will see it's just the perfect colour. This Strawberry Sunday is just the best red. It's just beautiful. I could have used Cherry Bomb out of the interference inks, but this one wasn't particularly an interference ink card that I wanted to do. The next one that I'm going to show you is all interference inks, so it will look quite a bit different, and it's done on black card. Um, so anybody that says you can't make Christmas cards on black card, they've obviously never used Lisa's interference inks, because they're just perfect. Right, so I'm coming in quite heavy, as I say, because I just want these to stand out. I just make sure that I'm filling all those little gaps in. Okay, that one. I love that. I think that tastes. Okay, so now I thought, what colour can I use on this? I've used red, I've used green. I didn't want to sort of go with any other bright colour. I wanted it to be Christmassy. So what I went to use was the anthracite. Now you might think, "Right, she's absolutely flipped a lid. What on earth is she using anthracite for?" I'm using anthracite because if you use it lightly, it's got that beautiful greeny, bluey tint to it. And I think it's just, when you see the finished one, I just think well, I'll leave it to you to decide, but I think it looks perfect. I think it's the perfect colour to use. And I'm not using it too heavy. In fact, I'm sort of going with what ink was already on the brush to start with. I may go back and add some more depending on how heavy it is when I've finished this first layer. But you really don't need much at all with the anthracite. It it spreads beautifully. It just it's just the perfect colour to lift other colours, if you like. It's a perfect background colour, but then it's a perfect central colour too. So let's just have a quick look. Now I like that, but I want it a tiny weeny bit darker. So I'm just going to go back and go over it. I didn't really want it that dark, but never mind. Thankfully, I've already done the one I'm using today. But, end of the day, it's a piece of card, and I can use this on a different project where the darkness will be better. Actually, I quite like that. I don't think it's too dark, and it just sort of blends in with the other colours. Now, I'm not sure why I've got a different colour here to all the greens. I must have had some ink on my stencil, although I did clean them. But hey ho, it is what it is. Now then, for the last layer, I thought, well, I want to use the same sort of colours. I want to stick with the reds and the greens, but I don't want to use the same green. So I've changed it up a little bit. I'm going to use eucalyptus. And again, you might think, it's cracked. But once it's done, I really think this is the perfect colour because this doesn't look unlike the anthracite. So, well, you'll see what I mean when I've finished it. I'm going reasonably light because I don't want this green to overpower the green that I used on the first layer. But obviously, I want it visible. So I'm staying light to start with, and then I can always do what I did with the anthracite and go back and just go over it again, just to sort of deepen the colour if I need to, which I probably will, to be fair. But I just love the detail on this set of stencils. I just think they're just beautiful. Yeah, I am going to go a little bit deeper because although you can see the eucalyptus within that anthracite, it doesn't show up quite as much as I wanted it to. So I'm going to go back in. I'm going to start in the middle, and I'm just going to work my way out. Okay. You can see already that that green is deepening up really nicely. And when I take it away, I think it will show up the anthracite a lot better. So, I mean, this was reasonably quick, wasn't it? What is it? Quarter past. We've hardly taken any time at all to do 4 stencils, which is why I thought we do more than one card. Yeah, I like that. I like that. So those are my 3 colours that I've used on there, plus the anthracite. Okay, so eucalyptus leaves, strawberry sundae, the interference magic garden, and the anthracite. And I think those colours work beautifully together. I just think, to me, that says Christmas. And then, of course, you need to die cut it and emboss it. And once you die cut it and emboss it, it sort of comes to life, if you like. So there are 2 parts to the die. There's the part to the die to cut the middle bit out, and the die to cut the whole thing out. You can do them both together. Um, I haven't had any problems putting them both through together, so long as you secure the one in the middle and the other one on the outside properly, you're not going to have any problems putting them together. They'll be perfect. So then just line this up. Now, don't forget there's always a millimetre border round these dies. If you really, really struggle lining your die up, what I would say is try embossing your piece in your embossing folder first, and then die cut it. You can always re-emboss it. No problems, Rebecca. We're on the fence with this. Fatal watching then, isn't it? Fatal seeing samples in the group. But I've got to be honest with you, it is such a beautiful set that you can use it for almost anything, um, which hopefully I can show you in a little while. So then you would just run that through, okay, and then you will end up. I mean, obviously this piece is embossed. Um, I'm not going to run this through now. I'll do it later. But you can see I've used exactly the same colours as I did on here. And I just think once you emboss it, it just comes to life on the page. I mean, okay, I put my pads on the back, but look at this detail here. Can you see this detail? Can I lift this up a little bit? The detail on the deboss is just incredible. I don't know whether it'll go out of focus. No, that's not too bad. The, honestly, the detail is incredible on here. Absolutely incredible. So I think I'm going to move that out of the way because I don't think I need that anymore. And then we're just going to put our first card together. Okay. So this is just a 6x6 card, near as damn it. And all I've done is fold the front piece back on itself. Okay. Then I've used eucalyptus leaves and just inked the whole panel there. And then I've masked this bit off and inked another panel on the other side. Then I've used that stencil, this one here, to just ink through with the same ink, so still eucalyptus leaves, because I think tone on tone looks really lovely. And then for this one, what I did was I flipped the stencil the other way, because obviously I'm working the other end, so that it sort of mirrors this one. So you can see this leaf here is this leaf here. If I'd have looked at it properly, I could have lined it up a little bit better, but I don't really think it matters, to be fair. Okay, and these are where I've used the stickers from the Christmas is Coming box kit, because they're just the perfect size to fit on my card. Okay, and I just think they finished it off. So I've also cut just a solid piece with the die, all right, the big die, because what I want to do is offset this one onto the glitter card one, okay, because I just think they work so well when you offset them, all right, and then that's going on the front there. So first things first, we're going to add this down to our card. Now you can see that I've already put my pads on the back, primarily to save a little bit of time. But it just helps. Now all I did was line this off in, into one of these valleys here. So top and bottom, and I lined it up, flipped it over, and I've just drawn myself a line on the back. Okay. And then when I put these on, I've come in a little little bit from where I've drawn the line so that I know that it's going to line up on that piece there. Okay, so I want the valley in the same place, top and bottom. Okay, so fingers crossed it works now. I've said all that. I'm going to put this down first, and then I can add all my other pieces on the top. So I know that I want this valley and this valley here to be on that centre line, on that bottom there. So I'm just going to line that up, try and get it as central as I can, top and bottom of the card, and then just stick it down. So obviously I've only got stickers on one side because obviously you won't be able to open the card otherwise, would you? And then I can put this one on top and sight it so that it sits between those valleys on those sort of edges. All right. So again, I've already put my pads on the back, and I've just basically put one on each petal, for want of a better word, because it just needs a little bit of support, but it doesn't need to be supported right to the edge. So just enough. Okay, and then I can line that up to sit in between that back snowflake, which is what it looks like to me. Need it a little bit further over. And it will fit perfectly. Once you've got it lined up right, it'll fit perfectly. Okay, so that's the front of the card. So on the inside, I wanted the same embossed snowflake shape, but I just wanted it just plain. So all I've done is take a piece of white texture card and I've just embossed it out and embossed it, and that's all I've done. Okay, so I'm going to line this up here. Now, obviously, when this is shut, I don't want to be able to see this. So I'm going to line this up with the top layer here, right? The way I'm going to do that is by lining it up back here, and then I'm going to add my glue without moving it. Put my glue down here, go all the way around, and then when I fasten the card, this back snowflake design, whatever, ruffled lace frame will be in the right place. Okay, I'm going to take that, I'm going to shut my card, and then fasten it down like so. Right, get over it a tiny wee bit. Got a little bit of wiggle room with that glue, but not a great deal. Okay, it's slightly off, but I'm not worried because they mirror each other anyway. So you know, I think it looks perfect anyway. So then, just to finish that middle bit off, because I only want this glitter card on the outside, I've taken the piece that I've cut out of the middle. I've cut it in a different satin card. This is the green satin card from the latest pack that Lisa bought out. And this little snowflake here is from the Christmas is Coming box kit. I mean, anybody would think she'd planned this. You know that things always work together. It's just genius. The snowflake fits perfectly into those little scallops. Genius. So then I'm just going to pop that down there, fill that little gap like so. And there's my first card. So you can write your greeting on here. So you've got space to write your greeting, and then the back mirrors the front, and your ruffled lace frame is perfect. I just think that actually solves the card. So that's the first one. And then I thought, well, okay, let's do something slightly different, but along similar lines. for the second one. So I've used the stencils and the die and the embossing folder. I've also used the nested stitch torn squares, and I've also used the Deck the Halls sentiment set. I've used this on a couple of cards actually because it just fits perfectly. So put that to one side. Now you can see here on the edge of this card, this is an 8x8, so this is quite a bigger card. I've just used 3 of the Christmas tree shapes on that first stencil, and I've inked them in Sweet Violet. Doesn't look like Sweet Violet, but I only used what ink was left on the brush. So I haven't sort of re-inked it. I didn't want it to be um, too bright. I just wanted it to be subtle in the background. So I've just layered that. I'll show you. I've just taken that and I've moved my card and I've just layered that so that I've got 3 trees on the corner of that card. Okay, and I've done that all around. So then I've cut out my squares. Now, when I add these down, I've got the perfect markers to decide where that square goes because I've got the middle of these 3 shapes here to line my square up with, which I think is really easy way of making sure that you put your thing in the middle. So again, I've already put my 3D pads on the back just to save a bit of time because 6 cards does take up quite a bit of time, but I think it'll be worth it. So I can pop that on there, lining it up with those points of those trees. And I'm going to keep calling them trees because that's what they look like. So that's my back piece. And then I've cut a second square, but I'm going to put it like that. Okay. Now this one here, you can see I've actually used interference inks on this. And the colours that I've used are these 2. So I've used Cherry Bomb Shimmer, which obviously comes up as this beautiful purple colour on black card. And I've used the Charcoal Gold Shimmer because I really love this gold. I really do think we need a gold ink pad though, Lisa. Just saying. So I've used those 2 colours, and those are the only colours I've used on there. And I really, really like that. I think that is just for a black Christmas card. People who say you can't make Christmas cards out of black card, I think you can, and I think it's lovely. Okay, so there's my second piece. Now on the back, I've put single pads, and in the corners, I've put double pads because obviously this is already 3D'd, so you don't want these corners to just dip away. So if you put a double thickness of pads on the corners, then they will sit level, which I always think is a much better look than having the corners sort of dipping away from the main card. So decide which way we're going to put it. Doesn't really matter which way you put it, to be fair. And then we're going to pop that down there, like so. And then again, I've used this Deck the Halls set for my sentiment, and I've cut it in the gold satin card and the black glitter card. So I've used the same cards all the way through, so that it what's the word I'm looking for? Coordinates. That's the word I'm looking for. Now, I didn't put my 3D pads on that here. I'm not sure why. Obviously, a senior moment. Never mind. And then I'm just going to pop that in the middle, plain and simple. But I think it's all it needs. I haven't done anything in the middle here. But I honestly don't think it needs anything else. I think that's absolutely all you need. So it's one Christmas card, and they look completely different, don't they? Same, same set, totally different looks. Okay, so those are the 2 Christmas cards that I had planned. And then, as I say, I thought, I wonder if you could just use one sheet of the stencils for a different card. So that's what I did. On this one, I've used these two sets. And I have it's the simplest card you could ever make, okay? So what I did on card, this is a 6x6 card, I just popped it into the bottom folder and I've just trimmed off the edges and the card shape, really, down to size for the embossing folder because I didn't want the frame. You know when you emboss with these folders, you get this sort of little white frame unless you cut your card to fit, which I think is about 5 6/8, something like that, or 5 7/8. Um, but obviously I'm using a ready-made card, so I just cut it down so that all I got was the snowflakes on the front. And all I've done is I've cut one of those torn squares, and I've just used layer one of those stencils on this card. Now I've used margarita on here, and I've gone back in and sort of come out from the middle to make the sort of stems and the trunks of the trees a little bit darker than the rest. Okay. And that literally I am just 3D in this piece and I'm just gonna add a sentiment. And it's the simplest, quickest Christmas card you will ever make. And I just think it's just so clever. So once I add the sentiment, you'll see what I mean. So obviously it doesn't matter which way around this goes because it's a circle, so they can go whichever way you want. Don't think it'll fit that way, so I'm keeping it square on. Just pop that down there, and then again, I've cut those deck the halls sentiments in two different colours actually. So I've just gone with green and white. The back layer, there's three pieces to this. So you've got the back layer, the middle one, the white one, and then the actual words on the front, so the green. And I just think putting that in the middle is just how simple but how active. I just think that's the joy. Okay, hide some of the trees, but matter does it really? How simple is that? How effective does that look? With those snowflakes in the background. I I just think it's clever. So that's layer one stencil. Then we did layer two. Now this isn't a Christmas card. This is a 5x7, more or less. It's actually not that big, I don't think. It's less than 5x7, but not much. So on here, cut one of the rectangles. So I've used the nested scalloped and stitched rectangles. I've also used the nested scalloped and plain circles, and I've used the fabulous fonts, okay, on this card. So I've done my rectangle as my base. So it's actually going to sit that way. So it's a landscape card, not a portrait card. And again, I've done my pads to save time. And these, I don't just use them as as they as that ruffled lace frame. Beautiful though, you can get so much more out of them than just using them as what they were designed as. Okay, so I'm going to pop that in the middle, try and get it as central as I can. Okay, and then this is layer two of the stencils. So I'll just show you layer two, so you can see that I actually I actually stenciled the whole thing. So I'd got all these little um, tails on as well, but it didn't look right. It didn't fit my card right. Okay, so I used the circle to cut it out so that it just features what I think look like the tops of champagne bottles, if you look at them like that. And then these look like bubbles. So you've got baubles in between champagne bottles. Okay. What I've done is I'm going to add them right to the edge of those that rectangle on the bottom. All right. So I've used very few pads on this one. You'll be impressed to hear. I do go a bit bonkers with pads, don't I? But not on this one. So I'm going to line that up along the edge of that rectangle. And I didn't want to see this satin card under here. So I cut the middle bit in a different satin card. So I've used the pink so that I can slot those into there like that. I just to make it look a bit different, make it sort of look a little bit special. So that's one side. I'll just move that out of the way. And then we'll put this one on the other side. And again, this is a quick, simple way of making a card. It's going to save you oodles and oodles of time because these are so simple to do. But once you've done them, they look so effective. So again, just put that in there like so. And then I'm just going to put my sentiment on. Now, as I say, I use the Fabulous fonts, and this is the Hugs, Kisses and Birthday Wishes, because apart from anything else, it just fitted in the gap that I've got in the middle there. But obviously, you could use a sentiment that went all the way across. But I've cut this, stamped it and cut it in white, and then I've done cut it again in black, just the actual frame. Gone a little bit near the edge with that pen. And I'm just going to put that right in the middle. Quick and simple. Plain, easy birthday card using one layer of the stencils. Okay. I just think they're so clever that you don't have to use them all. So then number 3 was, make sure I've got the right one. Number 3 was this one. Now again, this isn't a Christmas card. This is a more general card. But again, I've used just this one sheet, but I've only used half of it. Okay. And again, I've used the rectangles, but I've cut the rectangles down to fit my card a little bit better. Okay. I wanted it to be a really narrow rectangle, but I didn't want to use the slimline rectangles because they're not quite wide enough. So I've just used the nested and scalloped rectangles, and I've just altered a little bit. And then I've just put my pads on the back of here, and this is going down in the middle. And then my next piece has got the stenciling on it. Okay, so this is going down in the middle. This is the, so I'll just pop that down there, try and get it central. Okay, and then as you can see, I've just stenciled half of this sheet. Okay, so I've had it on my Ultimate, and I've put the card over this side, so I'm just stenciling this one piece here. All right, and the colours that I've used here were these. On this one, I didn't tell you the colours, did I? I used Tusky Rose and Surf's Up, because I wanted a purple here, but I didn't want to use a purple. I just wanted to do it all pink and then colour of these little baubles here. So I've just added a bit of Surf's Up to the middle of those. Okay, so that's what I used on that one. And on this one, I've used Pina Colada on the outside, and then I've gone in with Coral Beach here, and then Margarita in here. And then this bit here, what I did was where I'd cut the middle out of a piece of card, I used the piece of card as my mask, if you like, and I've just inked into the aperture instead of using the piece that I've cut out because I wanted it all to be flat, okay? And again, I've used pina colada, and then I've come in from the edge with the coral beach just to make it look a little bit, just a bit pretty, really. So those are the colours I've used for that. And you can see that I've added some gems on the front of that one. They were from the Magic Garden set. This set. In the garden, that was it. And these were green and yellow. These have been out some time, and I'm 99.9% certain that there aren't any in stock because they're very difficult to get hold of. In as much as they've gone up in price so much that it's not a viable option for Lisa to sell them at the moment. Obviously, if they come down, then I'm sure she'll look at it again. No problem, Alison. So then that's going in the centre there. And again, I've done the same with the rectangle. I've cut it down to suit my card size. Okay. And then all I need to add on there is my sentiment. So I've got one 3D pad here, but I've got 3 here because it's going to sit off the edge of this card because I don't do central very often. So that's going there. So I want that to sit outside that yellow frame, but it's going to sit right in the middle of that design. That's a little bit too far over, but let's go back of it. I don't want it hanging off the card particularly. Okay. So, pretty birthday card. Whatever you want to do, really. And I just think using just one sheet, I think it's just so clever. So then finally, I used sheet number 4. So that's this one. And I thought, I want something a little bit different. I only want to use one colour ink. So on this one, all I've used is the white pigment ink on this card. No worries, Claire. See you tomorrow. Um, I've just used the white pigment ink on this card. Now, all I would say, if you're using this through your stencils, just be aware that the pigment one is a little bit wetter than obviously the blending one. Um, so be careful when you put stencil, especially with sort of very small apertures, because it will bleed through. So just be aware that this is quite a wet ink pad, right? So on this one, the sentiment that I used was the festive hugs, okay? And what I did here was I inked through my stencil just with that white, but I used blue texture card, okay? Now, this was some texture card I already had, but obviously you can use any colour. I like blue at Christmas. Blue and silver at Christmas, I think, is just beautiful. So I inked it all, cut it out, embossed it, and then I cut it into 4. Now it's easy to cut it equally because obviously it's a symmetrical pattern, so it's really easy to cut it evenly so that you don't sort of end up with pieces that are bigger than others. And then all I'm doing, see the middle here is one that I cut out of holographic card, and I added that before I cut everything up because trying to cut this into 4 and then stick it down would be a bit of a nightmare. So I added that first and then cut it. I'm just sticking that to the 4 corners to give me sort of a snowflake frame, if you like. And it's going right to the edge of the card. I haven't got any white showing on the edges. Thank you, Bonnie. Okay, that one's going on the top there, and then the last one in the other corner. And then I wanted a sentiment for the middle. But obviously didn't want the sentiment to look lost because these are quite bold, although it's just inking in one colour. Because I've used blue card, they do look quite bold, don't they? So I've used the Christmas bold phrases, the festive bold phrases, and as I say, I've used this one, the festive hooks, and I've cut it in silver, blue, and white. Okay, and then just because it all fitted with my colour scheme, literally go in the middle, and it won't touch anywhere. If I get it right, it will that frame beautifully without touching anywhere else. Effective, isn't it? I think it's really fab. So those are the 4 that I did with just, let me move my ink pads out of the way, with just one layer of the stencil. So, you know, don't just think, "Oh, I've got to use all 4. I've used all 4, but I've used them separately. And I think they work. Now I just think they look a little bit different. Never get 2 that look the same, in my opinion. And then this was the one that I'd inked already, obviously similar to what I stenciled at the beginning as my one Christmas card. And then the other was interference inks, just because I wanted to do a black one, just to show you that, you know, black is as beautiful for Christmas as any other colour. So there are 6 cards there with one set of stencils, one embossing folder, and the dies that go with the embossing folder. So a very versatile set at a cracking price, as per usual, and the one day special. Okay, so they will be on TV on Wednesday, 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock, and again on the day after at 10 a.m. Have a feeling Dawn might be doing the 2 o'clock show. If there's anything left for us, of course. Claire will be back with you tomorrow, 2 o'clock, and I will be back here with you on Thursday. And of course, Lisa will be live on Friday at 7 o'clock, as per usual. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope I've given you a few ideas, and I hope you enjoy them if and when you buy them. So I'll see you Thursday. Have a fabulous, take care, and look after yourselves. And I'll see you. Bye now.